So we are not only understanding the delusion, the power of delusion, and how this delusion causes stress and suffering in our daily life. So we have to hammer the delusion. First, by understanding clarity. When there is a conviction in the intellect, one day you will become free. Definitely you will become free from the delusion. So how that conviction takes place? By constant listening and learning. Conviction in the intellect takes place, and that conviction moves to the mind. And that is why we say daily study. Daily study is like tending a garden. It helps the wisdom to take root, grow, and blossom in the mind. It fills with the fragrance, and that comes through the daily life. It uproots the impurities, bearing the fruit of the inner freedom and the joy. Delusion is the mother of sorrow and suffering. How? So once we understand, then we know how to hammer it. Have you seen the lion starves to death when they become old? Because they don't get the flesh. They don't get the flesh. So in the old days, they cannot catch the prey, and ultimately they die. But they don't have the intellect to make a right decision. We have an intellect. If we make a right decision, it is possible. Have you seen, those tiger enjoys eating the flesh? They don't add any spices into it, and they are totally absorbed. Like the cows grazing in the field, they are totally absorbed, and they get lost. We have the same tendency in the mind because of the delusion. Same, more or less the same tendency. We also get absorbed in overeating, in getting attached. There's a good story in India that a wife was upset over a husband. Why? Because husband, every time he used to wake up in the morning and he starts drinking. He starts drinking from the morning. The wife said, "Darling, what are you doing? Try this." So wife took one sip for the first time. The whiskey was very bitter in taste. The wife said, "It's very bitter." So the husband said, "What do you think? I'm enjoying?" Did you understand? He was addicted, so he passed on the remark to the wife, "Do you think that I'm enjoying drinking? I'm using such a bitter drink." So that kind of an absorption takes place. So how to get rid of the delusion? Your intellect should analyze and observe that the peace and happiness are not the properties of any object in the world. Any object, any event, any person, any relationship. I have to analyze. The mind takes over. The mind takes over due to attachment. Peace and happiness are not the properties of any object or thing in the world. Find out. Like the property of the sun is light. So wherever you see the sun, there is a light. Now compare it. Wherever there is a food, there is happiness. Wherever there is a car, there is a happiness. Where there is a relationship, is there happiness? Compare that. Compare that. Compare that. That is how we have to analyze. So when I said delusion is the mother of the sorrow and the suffering, now we are going a step further. Now reverse this. From where we get pain and the suffering? Recall, please. Recall, please, those events when you were stressed, when you were upset, when you were anxious. It was because of the delusion. You were searching peace and happiness in them. Just recall. What is recall? Remember. Bhaj Govindam. Just recall. Hold on. Tell your mind, oh, you are upset. Okay, let us become upset after a minute. Let me find out why I get upset. Give us space, and you will find out it is because of the delusion. There is no other reason why I get upset, why I am stressed, why I am suffering. Once you extract that point in your intellect, that my pain, my getting upset, my suffering is all because of the delusion. Why delusion? Because I was searching peace and happiness where it is not. I am searching peace and happiness where it is not. We get too much of pain and the suffering where we are too much attached, which we call as love. Otherwise, how can the love can cause the suffering? There is no reason. There is no reason at all. Cognitive ability. It is not CBT, cognitive behavior therapy in modern psychology, but it's a cognition. So I recognize why I am getting the stress, get upset in the world. It is only because of the delusion. So Master says, we cannot get rid of the attachment. So instead of getting attached to anything outside, get attached to meditation, get attached to wisdom, get attached to the right knowledge. When we get attached to the right knowledge, it is what the Bhaj Govindam is. We have millions of thoughts of delusion, millions of ideas of securing happiness, which causes the delusion. Believing my partner will complete me and make me happy. I have to find out the completeness in myself. My partner will make me happy forever. I'm not going against the partnership. I'm not going against the relationship. Remember this. So now how to get rid of that delusion? Let me express the sense of completeness and happiness in my relationship. Now others, no, my partner is not in that mood. He or she is not studying any Eastern. You need not to worry about it. You simply express your sense of completeness and your sense of peace in your relationship. That is all. And see what happens. Thinking your relationship will be problem-free without needing compromise or work. My relationship. Now that relationship does not have an element of delusion, which can cause suffering. It has an element of expression of peace and happiness from you. I'm not asking, I'm not expecting, I'm giving. When I'm expecting, it is attachment, it will result into delusion. I get obsessed, I get absorbed. That is the beauty of Bhaj Govindam, because I got rid of that foolishness. I assume that my partner's role is to fulfill all my needs and make my life perfect. Nothing possible, not possible. These are the elements of the delusion. Expecting my partner to change and to fit my idealized image, not possible. Idealized image is obviously a fancy. Judging my worth by whether judging my worth, no, judge the worth of others. Out of the 10 qualities, out of the 10 shortcomings, even if you find one good quality, just appreciate that and allow your mind to express peace and happiness. The delusion will not be there. Why I find 9 shortcomings? Because I am already in delusion, because I have an expectation, I have an attachment. You are not a teacher to your partner, for example. Same thing allows to the objects. For example, the wealth. Believing money will solve all my problems and eliminate happiness. Not possible. Money cannot buy happiness. It is not the property. Money, the property of happiness. Money does not have the property of thinking wealth can bring automatic joy. Automatic joy. Not possible. We have a false assumption that when I become rich, everyone will start loving. How many people love Elon Musk? And even if they love, we have a false assumption of that. We imagine that if I possess all the luxury items, yeah, that will make me happy. So behind the delusion, there is some ego is working. Even take the physical body. Physical body. Judging self-worth. I judge my worth by the physical beauty or lack of it. Perhaps I am not as handsome as people are here, not as beautiful as women are here. So are you not attending my session? You have to hammer the mind. If you don't hammer the mind, these thoughts will never go. I have to recall, remember, and drop it. Believing you need to look perfect based on ideals in the society. So in America, we have casual dress, we have formal dress. Idealizing. Do whatever you are doing with a conviction minus delusion, and you are free. So once you analyze these thoughts, you recognize, what do we recognize? We recognize the delusion. What is that delusion? It is a wrong capacity to derive false pleasure, pain from the situation, from the people, from the relations. And that also includes, I'm going to a very subtler level of a delusion. I'm in pain because I did not sleep last night. I lost money. You also lost money in a restaurant where you spent $100. You also lost money where you bought $200 of cosmetics. Did you get a return? There also you lost money. We have to analyze very deeply our own life. We have to get rid of this false assumption. We are going deeper at the subtler level. Money is a power of exchange. Think, 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 think. It is all about thinking. It is not believing. It is not imagination. I cannot sleep with light on, for example. But after sleep, I do not know if the light is on or off. We have created millions of false assumptions. And it is dictated by the mind. Why it is dictated by the mind? Because the intellect is not thinking, intellect is not analyzing that from where I am getting pain and how I get upset. Think. I have been saying listening and learning, contemplation and reflection followed by the practice is again takes you away from the false assumption. Bhaj Govindam is nothing but recall, remember, repeat. Just say. Even your mind says, no, it is a fake assumption. No, say, I am the real self. You have already so many false assumptions, so add one more, that I am the real self, and then start working on it. Let us see what happens. But keeping in mind that I am searching that existence, that thing which has a property of peace and happiness. There is nothing in the world which has a property of peace and happiness. Essential nature of the sun is light. So if you find any essential nature of any food item, any relationship, any event, that is peace and happiness. You cannot find in the world. So what is happening? Why we are talking like this? So we want to get rid of the attachment and ignorance in relationship to the world. That is very important. I should know how to think, speak, and live in the world daily. And that is why the Master says in the very first step, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Moodhamate. O foolish mind, irrational mind, why you are getting obsessed and why? Fast forward. I already told you. Fast forward your life another 100 years. No one will be there attending the session. Life is so short. And okay, fast backward another 40 years or 50 years if I assume that no one is below 40 years. Fast backward, what did you get? Nothing. We are still suffering. So the first verse says that when appointed time of the death will come, you will continue to be in a delusion. It is better to remove the delusion here and now, from today. So what happens? You have removed the delusion from today. Now the partner you hate, in the mind that hatred goes away. You are relaxed. Your perception changes. Now, for example, in any relationship, whether it's a relationship between mother and daughter, son and any relation, that we don't do it because the mind is so much colored, hypnotized. That is the message in the first verse. I'm summarizing so that we will. In the second verse, he says, Moor Jahai. So he says that pleasure-seeking mind. Pleasure-seeking mind in the wealth, in the position, in the recognition, it builds a false ego. So main teaching in the second verse that be a contributor rather than a consumer. I have to be a contributor. Third verse says that you extract, you analyze from where you are getting the pleasure. The other way is to explore. Just analyze last week how many times you got upset, and you will find where you were attached, where you thought this event, this relationship is very significant because I am getting love, I am getting a support. There you are upset. You cannot be upset with me. Maximum you will stop attending the session. Maximum. Forget about it after a few weeks and months. But you get upset with your near and dear ones. Tell me if it is not true. So why I get upset with the near and dear ones? So when you explore it, it is because of delusion. It may be because of physical relationship with the partner. It may be because that I am not taken care of by the mother or the parents. It may be because my sibling. You see that? So Master says in the third verse that I have to analyze and observe. Or maybe friend. So the Master is saying, do not fall prey to the Frenchie's delusion. Because they trigger a lot of thoughts. Oh, you are my sibling and you have done this. You are my partner, you have done this. You are my mom, you have done this. You are my friend, you have done this. I told you already that this guy in India invested $500,000 to his friend. To his friend, I'm using the word. To his friend. And he was in a stock and trading. So the friend promised that I will get you a 15% return every month. First 6 months was very good, you know, how good the friend is. Now he started getting a loss. So for another 6 months he did not pay anything. And then he got upset and he told me what to do. I said, did you ask me before you invested your $500,000 to your friend? You didn't ask me. And now you're asking me. Just look at it. At every moment this happens. Now another part you should understand that this is going to happen. Better you recognize, say sorry, get out of it. We will commit mistakes. You need not to worry. Don't feel guilt. Don't feel guilt. Say sorry is extremely. Not only to everyone outside, but then say sorry to yourself, to say sorry to the mind, and that mind, I'm not going to follow you. Have a conviction. The life will change. I can bet you. You will move into a new level of awareness. That is what I told you before also, but remember how the delusion, how the delusion, well, what should I say? How the delusion entraps us. So there are 3 stages how it traps. You meet a stranger, first meeting. I'm just giving a meeting, what we normally say soulmate, and after that we become a soulmate. Take that example. It's a very beautiful principle. We say Priya, Mod and Pramod. Three words are there. Priya, Mod and Pramod, yes. So I'm just explaining. Oh, very nice to meet you, and you start gossiping together and you have a liking for each other. That liking contains an element of attachment. Oh, let us meet again. Was there any objective of meeting again? We create an objective. So the first point of delusion that thrills me. It is the initial sense of anticipation and attraction towards a person. Why? Because of a pleasant stimuli in my mind. Mind is attracted by the outer stimuli it calls. So is there a harm? No, there is no harm. I should like, but I should maintain my awareness. It should not turn out to be attachment. First stage. So the master says the priya means I see, I have a sensual perception, and I get attracted to it. Second stage. Idea of possessing. Idea of possessing means idea of attachment. Why idea of attachment? Because it will increase pleasure in my life. So I miss the main principle. Now my delusion, level of delusion goes up. That is known as the mode. Everyone's mind does the same thing. The heightened enjoyment when we acquire or gain. What does it mean by acquire and gain in relationship? I call you and say, "Oh, let us meet together. We'll meet in a lunch," and we have started meeting. So there is a sense of possession. Now you will listen to me, and I will listen to you. Do you see that? It happens. It has happened. So that is the second stage, and what is the third stage is known as the pramoda. Now I possess in my mind. I feel as if I possess you, you possess me. It's an emotional pleasure. It's an emotional possession. It has no reality into it. We are a soulmate now. And then the third level, I have to enjoy. I possess you, so I enjoy. You possess me, so you enjoy. So in delusion, these three stages takes place. In every object. You're watching YouTube and certainly you saw in a flash a beautiful shape, size of the car passes by. It thrills. First stage. Then you start taking interest in that car. Second stage. You buy that car. Third stage. In everything, these three stages causes the delusion. Priya, Mod, Pramod. Perception pleasure. First stage is perception pleasure. If I am not alert, it will take me to possession pleasure. See, use those words, possession pleasure. And third stage, third is now it is only pleasure and pleasure. Because now I possess you. Now I possess my shirt, Whether it is a shirt or a car or any damn thing in the world. Why? What is the main principle? No object, no person, no event, nothing in the world has a property of peace and happiness. I never think like this. No. His company or her company gives me lot of pleasure. Let me see how long. Let me see how long. Perception pleasure is the first stimuli from outside. Possession pleasure is the second. And now, when I possess, I think I can enjoy pleasure anytime, anywhere, which is not possible. That is the meaning money cannot buy happiness. You see? I possess the money, but I am not happy. I'm in relationship, but I'm not happy now. We have to do regular contemplation and reflection, and followed by the practice to clarify, to purify the mind, so that the wisdom descends into the mind. Then you wake up in the morning, you are always happy. That is what the discovery of the peace and the happiness is there. So eyes are closed, my friends. Let us go back to our practice, understanding. So the first thing that I have already said, are you comfortable? Are you carefree, my friends? Check. Are you comfortable and carefree? So recall. Again, this is also Bhaj Govindam. So you recall. You simply recall. How you recall? Oh, being comfortable is going to the neck joint, feeling sensation, comfort and steadiness, and you are experiencing that. Shoulder joint, sensation, comfort and steadiness, you are feeling that. The entire body, sensation, comfort and steadiness, you are feeling that. Being carefree is nothing but every thought has one or the other objects. I was talking the other day to that guy in a private session that every thought has an object. So if my mind is wandering, I have 100 thoughts. Every thought has an object. And every thought is seeking pleasure from outside. That is why my mind is wandering. So what is being carefree? I just say to the mind, I'm not following you. I'm just watching you, my friend. That is another way to understand being carefree. But we have been doing it. We start directly with the mantra Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Now we see that we are hammering the mind because the delusion is present by the mantra. What is the mantra means? May there be happiness for happiness for all. Happiness cannot be for all by a simple one object, one person, one food, one drink, one thing. Oh, so it is not outside. Simple. Happiness is my essential nature. So what happens? One day your mind will recognize, unnecessarily I fought with my partner. Let me say sorry and let us start. Not become a consumer, become a contributor. You initiate the process. Why? You are a seeker. It is your responsibility. Sarvesham, Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. The same thing applies here. Peace for all. Peace in an event, object, thing? No. Peace is our essential nature. Yes, it is an intrinsic nature of every being on this earth. what you're doing, you have changed the mindset. So in delusion, we get upset. So instead of upset, we have a mindset coming through the intellect. Sarvesham, Sarvesham, Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham, Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham, Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Mangalam, completeness in all. The same thing. You have to remind your mind, my friends, again and again and again, that I am complete in myself as a pure consciousness. A sense of incomplete causes the delusion, insecurity, unhappiness. Even if you cannot reflect on it, you remember it and then start reflecting on it. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be an auspiciousness for all, and that auspiciousness for all means we recognize the intrinsic nature is peace and happiness of each and every being on this earth. So where your mind goes when you recognize this, oh, let me recognize the first, that intrinsic nature in me. Why not in others? Then I will remain in delusion. So first I recognize and that is why it is known as awakening and self-realization. You don't use the word awakening for others, no, self-awakening, self-knowledge, self-realization. And now we will look inside the forehead in the space. There you drop gently Om Shanti and start breathing short and the gentle breath through both the nostrils into the rib cage. Just continue. And see here, when your mind is absorbed, it will remove the delusion. The mind is also absorbed because of the pleasure in the objects of the world. Absorption is the same. But there is a qualitative difference. We are using the same mind. So we need not to control the mind. We need to change the mind, sublimate. Continue. So even if you have resistance from the mind, please, you know how to endure it. You have a new level of experiences, recognize and accept it. So sometime we have a new experiences and the mind tries to react to it. Tingling, numbness, vision in the colors in the mind, resistance, all these are the variety of experiences. So we have taken two groups of experiences. Recognize any experience where you have vision, colors, tingling, numbness, accept it. But whenever you have resistance, you endure it. You see? Very subtle, and it is possible. Continue breathing into the rib cage, please. Just continue breathing. Om Shanti, stillness in the body. Om Shanti continues, breathing continues, and the stillness continues. The mind has to work at three fronts. That expands your awareness. So we are using this tool, and these tools are available in Tantra. Hundreds of tools are available, provided we are a seeker. One day you will discover the level of endurance where you can even do for 10 minutes and 15 minutes. And that is why I say, please do the practice at your home, listening the audio that I send to you. And stop it, allow the breath to be normal, watching the breath flow. Whichever the flow is less, pay attention there and check that you are bringing. You will observe both the flow are equal or becomes equal. I know that I have to extend the period of this step. I will do it gradually. Another point that we experience is that our nostrils become clear, so that the next breathing practice, which we do it through the belly, we do it with a longer breath, that has a deeper impact on the flow of the nostril. So look inside the forehead in the space, Om Shanti, and start breathing from the belly. Little longer breath, expansion and contraction of the belly. Pay attention. The mind has to be aware of continued state of steadiness of the body. Continue dropping Om Shanti deep inside the forehead and continue breathing into the belly. Your awareness at these 3 points will help you to progress faster. Sometimes it happens naturally if you are listening, contemplating, and doing it. And you will also discover the flow of the breath, even when you are doing the belly breathing, is equal. That is a wonderful state. Beautiful. Continue. Nobody is moving the body. That is a good state. So when we are doing these practices in person or privately, so I also check if there is any movement of the eyeballs. It means the mind is also withdrawing itself if there is no movement. But it is happening. You all are seekers. No worries. And do nothing. I kept silent myself for a longer period, so no worries about it. And watch the flow of the breath, register the resistance and the memory, why to register, so that next time when you do, you know how to deal with the resistance and how to deal with other experiences. That is what we do normally in our daily life. Oh, this guy behaves like this, so I have to keep quiet. Something. So now the third time the breathing, go back to the forehead inside, start mantra Om Shanti, body is still, and start breathing both from the belly and the rib cage. If the flow of the breath is equal to both the nostrils, you will find challenging to breathe deep, long, and that is our success. Means the flow to both the nostrils are equal. expansion of the belly and also of the ribs. As you inhale, first belly expands and then ribs expand. Every time we start the third breathing, now is the time in every session to experience as if the flow, both the nostrils, are becoming equal. And when they become equal, there is an instant sensation, vibration along the spine. A lot of people are talking about those things. They are natural to us. We bypass them, we watch them, we enjoy them, we experience them, we witness them, and we leave them. And now leave this breathing, allow your breath to be normal, pay attention to the breathing, the flow of the breath in the state of stillness in the body. You see, what we have understood at the intellectual level, we find the correlates purely at the physical level, at the level of the breathing, because these body and the breath and the mantra, where we find some correlates with the different experiences. So it means we are not doing anything unconsciously. Meditation is a conscious journey, my friends. And in that state, look inside the cave of your heart. Triangle, equilateral, pointing upward. You already know the three-pointed awareness, awareness of the sight, awareness of the movement of the mind, and awareness of Om Shanti. You are dropping on each side of a triangle, waiting to consciously experience the sinking. The moment you find a sink, you have a long Om mentally push the mind inside through the triangle into the cave of your heart. And when you see the mind seemingly stops, Shanti, and done. Now you're not doing anything. So there is awareness that a kind of self-absorption is there, a very beautiful state. We are totally away from the world, even if we have lot of experiences. And now Om Shanti on the 16 segments. Sometimes you cannot complete on the 16 segments. There is also a self-absorption, but you are not lost. You remain aware of it. That is one thing you have to note. You're able to continue to live into that state of awareness. Maybe you said Shanti just on one finger, and then there is a continuity of the state of awareness is maintained. You are not losing. It's okay. Or you continue to maintain the state of awareness by dropping Om Shanti on all the 16 fingers. So your mind, the quality, the way it drops Om Shanti on the fingers changes depending on our temperament, our level of evolution, the stage of awareness. Om Shanti. One master used to explain this Om Shanti has a different pattern, like He used to say that mind is totally absorbed, transcending the world. So different ways. Sometimes you simply transcend by just Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Total transformation is our goal, but we start with hammering the delusion. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down, and we will share our experiences. And if any question you have, you are free to ask. So, how are you, David?
Thank you. Good morning. Very good. The lesson was very relevant for me today, so I was very focused in detail on it, and we'll listen to it over and over again. The practice, you know, endure was sort of the thesis going into the practice, and I consequently had a very deep practice. And after the third breathing, I don't know if we did the heart, but the next thing I remember is we're doing the japa, but it was very, very intense and very clear, crystal clear, is how I would describe it.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
Beautiful. You have paid attention to the contemplation and reflection on the talk that we had, plus the practice. It's a good one. How are you, Jerry?
Very good, thank you. The meditation was smooth, easy, no resistance. And I think the main thing that stuck out was that we need to keep our focus within and the attachment always within. And we really aren't able to and shouldn't try to help or guide others.
Yeah, you're right. And there is another perspective that I discussed, that I am attached to anything outside. I already explained the three levels: perception, pleasure, possession, pleasure, and then pleasure. That is what the attachment is. And so instead of being attached to anything outside, let me attach to the real self. Let me attach to inside. So that attachment brings the discernment and dispassion. It's a beautiful. That's another way to explain it. How are you, Stephen? So you got the message that our program has been cancelled.
I did, yes. Thank you for everything. Something you said on Saturday resonated with me since, and that is you can't find the real self in others until you find the real self in yourself.
Yes.
And that stayed with me, and I've been contemplating and reflecting on it, and one of the major thing that came out for me since then has been delusion resides here, and peace and happiness resides here, and it's helped my meditation all week long go deeper and deeper, because I've always been focused. Now I'm focused here more so than here. So when this starts, I bring my attention to here, and it just completely relaxes. And today was just probably the most absorbed I've ever been. I don't even recall the breathing.
Good.
I was just in a deep state, just sitting in my heart center the entire time, and struggled to even come out of this meditation. So again, thank you.
Thank you. That is what happened to the David also, that he did not remember whether breathing was continuing. So that is why I did not say anything in the same way. But remember that you pick up one principle, and what was that principle? That unless I recognize that real self in me, I cannot recognize in others. So when you reflect on it, constantly reflect, and the way Christina reflected also in the last session in a different way, that changes the entire perception of our life. So we are set to go to transform our mind completely. So how are you, Brandy? Brandy, you were not there. That's why we canceled the event.
What event?
You don't know, so let us share your experience. I'll tell you.
Okay. Are you talking about Wednesday?
Yeah.
I thought that was canceled a long time ago. I'm sorry. So yeah, the thing about the breathing that's really interesting this time is kind of like David and Stephen. I was so deep in the meditation that there were times that during the breathing that I thought I was breathing,
And then I realized I wasn't breathing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then I would start back up with the breathing, and then I'd go really deep into the meditation, and then so it was this, and then the next thing I knew it was over.
Yeah, it's a deeper state. That's why this time I did not say that there is a forgetfulness of the breathing. No, it was not a forgetfulness. We were aware, and the same thing happened to the Dennis last time. If I remember, last time or just a week before. So we are aware it is happening, but this is not me, as if this is totally outside, and that throws you in a deeper state. Definitely, that's a deeper state. We will not stop until we reach there. Beautiful. How are you, Christina?
Thank you very much. Today I had the experience of being outside my body, and though not of the body,
Yeah,
I guess is
yeah,
the best way
yeah,
to describe that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I liked the idea of, I think, guilt over when I might get upset, or that in itself can become a delusion.
Yeah, yeah.
And how to bring that back. Yeah.
Yeah. Every anxiety, duality, conflict coming from the delusion. And when we continue to experience that, how many times we experience we are out of the body. So basically, because of the delusion, we claim that we are the body. The mind claims I am the body. When the delusion is gone, we know I am not the body. Just a cognition is there all the time. When that cognition is there, we are always out of the body, using the body. Like, you are driving the car, you are inside the car, but you are not the car. Same thing happens to the body. Exactly the same thing happens into the body. Just take car as a body. It's a beautiful experience. How are you, Janice?
Thank you. The practice was seamless. The breath was equal. I didn't notice any resistance, but I noticed strong sensations in the forehead during the breathing, the last one. It was almost painful, but it didn't really disturb me. Just something I noticed. And I have a question about the absorption. You mentioned it several times today. It's my understanding correct that this is a kind of a feature capacity of the mind to be absorbed either in the worldly activities, in other objects, or inside. And when this absorption happens, do we perceive only just one object that the mind is being absorbed with, or other objects are perceived but like less vividly, or is it something that we usually call focus or concentration, or does it have anything in common or to do with this absorption that you mentioned?
Beautiful question, Dennis. You're always a step ahead. So sometimes when you look at the wall, we know that we are not looking at the wall, we are somewhere else. So are we not aware of everything outside? But we are not at all interested. One way to say it. We are not so we are not at all interested in the world of the duality and delusion, but we are somewhere. That somewhere is what I call the self-absorption in meditation. It happens. Sometime, say for example, if you happen to be a beautiful girl, I keep on looking at you and I am absorbed. But still I am aware of everything outside. Not just giving an example, don't take it otherwise, So you see that? So what happens? So that is what is another higher state of mind, higher state of awareness is there. Now, can I live into that state of awareness all the time? Answer is yes. I can live into that state of awareness all the time. all the time you are there is a kind of an absorption, means you experience all pervading consciousness, one consciousness. I'm answering your question in a different way. So you experience that perception is there. Perception means that perception, one consciousness is there. But then how can I talk to you? Because I'm also aware of the duality. But there is no attachment to the duality. So that is what happens at a higher level of not only meditation but in daily life. Terry is listening patiently. How are you, Terry?
I did experience some resistance throughout the breathing.
Good.
But it wasn't, I just looked at it as part of the process that I'm working towards, and it wasn't significant. The lesson was very clear.
Very good. If the lesson is clear and we understand the delusion, every time your body moves, have a very strong conviction that I'm not the body which is moving.
Sometimes it would twitch or move up like it was doing it by itself. Suddenly I realized my hands were clenching for something, and then I would undo it.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing.
Yeah, beautiful. I will pick up that question also when you said that it is happening by itself. Nothing happens by itself. There is always a cause and effect relationship in the world. So we will see that how it is happening, from where it is happening gradually. We will pick up. How are you? Sangeeta is left. Yeah, Sangeeta is left.
बहुत अच्छा था लास्ट तक तो एकदम एग्जॉस्ट है बिल्कुल और सर अटैचमेंट कम हो रही है बाहर हस्बैंड के साथ कम हो रही है ज्यादा जुड़ रहे हैं गुरुदेव के साथ
Very good. Very good. She says her attachment is reducing. So it is good. So you have a new level of experience. Don't get upset as if, I'm getting, my attachment is reduced to my husband and children. Let it happen. Don't worry. After the attachment is gone, the real love will flow out. So sometimes we have a lot of confusion in this journey. Jerry, you wanted to ask something? No, I think you raised your hand. So just think of this. That's a beautiful discussion in the talk. Ultimately, if you go, so there is a kind of perception. Remember, if I say so in a simple way, then you will say, from future I will not attend any session. But now I can tell all you are all seekers. Nothing happens in you as a seeker. What happens then? Your perception about you, who you are, perception about the world, what is the nature of the world, and perception about what is the God, everything changes. That is the meaning of bringing an end to the delusion. What happens? Now, yes, you have an experience of all pervading consciousness. So there is a simultaneous awareness. When I see you as an individual, and I also see in the background, we are essentially one. Oh, do you see through your eyes? No, that we will take up later. We don't see through the eyes.